Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I just wanted to say thank you to the people who actually watched my video last time. I'm actually very chuffed about that and I'm very happy. Thank you guys. And if you can leave a like at this video as well, that would also help me out very much. But anyway, let's get back to the comics. Now, today I want to talk about Batman Rebirth. This comes out of the DC Universe Rebirth comic I did last week. Now, what these comics are meant to do, these very first issues, these Rebirth number ones, they're basically meant to get you back into the comics and give you a sense of what the character is about, like what Batman's up to these days, what's the tone of the book the writers are going for, and just to give you a general sense of what's happening. Set up the character and his supporting cast and his general abilities and stuff like that. Now, this book is quite interesting because it has two writers on it. It's Tom King and Scott Snyder. And it has quite a good, cool artist on it as well, Mikhail Janin. Chung there is the colorist. Now, the reason this is interesting, because it has two writers, is because Scott Snyder did a very long and prolific run on Batman in the New 52, just before DC Comics Universe Rebirth. Now, he's only here to basically hand the torch over to Tom King. This is really just Tom King's baby. This is mostly his influence in this comic, but also Scott Snyder does lend his hand to the comic. Okay, well, let's have a look. Now, first, the comic starts off with Alfred just picking plums in the garden, and you meet this new young man coming to the Wayne Manor. This is Duke Thomas, and Duke Thomas is one of the characters that Scott Snyder created in the previous Batman run. He's important for later. He's supposed to be the new Robin, but not really. He's trying something new, apparently. And this book is also themed by the seasons, and I'll explain as we go along. Now, here in the beginning, you see Batman facing off against a very classic Batman villain called the Calendar Man. Calendar Man has always been just a serial murderer, just killing people on certain days of the calendar, like holidays mostly, like Christmas and Valentine's Day. He hasn't really been all that interesting for a long time. But yeah, he's like just doing some crazy shit, trying to kill Batman, and he has this plan. As you can see, these like little spores popping up all over the place. These things are apparently going to kill everyone, and they're spreading very quickly. So Batman thinks fast and just fucking vaporizes them all with this electric blast of his, which is very interesting because that I've never seen before in a Batman comic. This is obviously very much Scott Snyder's influence because he really does this shit. Batman's always prepared for everything, apparently. Now, as we go on, we go back to Bruce Wayne doing his daily routine of fucking gymming while talking to Lucius Fox about company business. Because as you can see here, he's doing pull-ups with one arm over the Wayne corporate building, which is fucking hilarious. And yeah, they just talk shop, really, getting Wayne's finances back in order. And as you can see here, his fingers are starting to slip because of the sweat of him just fucking training so hard. And just as he's about to slip, he just grabs on with his other arm. And they keep talking about how Wayne Enterprises always seems to fall into fucking disrepair as he's Batman, because he's not always there to look after things, really. He keeps that. He lets Lucius Fox handle most of the economics, really. And then we cut back to Calendar Man, who's suddenly becoming really decrepit and old, and it's like only 2 days after he was arrested by Batman. And they kind of explain here that Calendar Man is actually a meta-human who is basically it's a version of the Marvel Comics X-Men. It's like a mutant where supervillains and superheroes kind of have these powers that change them, and they use for nefarious deeds or helping people. But obviously, Calendar Man is kind of a crazy bastard. So his power is to be rebirthed every week as a young man, and every time he comes back, he has a different mindset. He's a different personality, which is a very different take on the character. He was just a normal dude with just the 12, as you can see, these tattoos on his head. It's just the Roman numeral 12s all around his head, just for every number of the month. Just that's all he did, and then he killed people in very weird ways. But yeah, now they changed the character completely. And then you get this cool shot of the Batcave by Michael Janin, which is very interesting. I mean, it's very obviously done a lot with computers these days. There's the obvious pencils, but the coloring is all computer coloring. And yeah, as Duke Thomas, the new Robin, as it were, walks around here with Batman. He obviously knows his identity. They know each other. Throughout the Scott Snyder run, he was a very big influence in that. And it also culminated in one of the stories called, I want to say, it was basically, it was called Endgame, which Joker attacked Gotham heavily and poisoned a lot of the Gotham citizens and made them all go crazy. And Duke Thomas's parents were some of the victims, and they never recovered. They were Jokerized completely. And that's one of the things that motivates Duke to become a new superhero. And he says that he doesn't want to be another Robin. He wants to be his own superhero. And Batman's like, yes, I know, you don't need me and I don't need you, but you can try out this. I'm trying out something new. And then Duke says, okay, well, yeah, I'll give it a shot. Now, throughout the story, they talk about this, about Calendar Man's plans to release more of that those spores into the atmosphere. And he basically he submerged it under the ice in Gotham Harbor. So Batman has to go diving down there and looking for it. So, and like the whole time when Batman is doing this, Duke says, you only have like 5 minutes to do this, man. Your air won't hold that long. And as he's diving, Duke keeps saying, this is impossible, this is impossible. And he's like, you can't do it, you can't do it. And then Batman does it, and he comes out and he says, it's done. It's just a fucking awesome scene. It's like, you can't do it, man, what the hell? And then you see the final phase of Calendar Man's transformation, or he's like molting almost, coming out of his his old shell into his new body, becoming a new Calendar Man almost. And then you get this classic scene from one of the older comics in Batman's history. It's the 1980s, where they reinvented his origin. It was written by Frank Miller and drawn by David Mazzucchelli, if I can remember correctly, where they just kick a tree. And now in the old book, Batman kicked this tree alone and he like kicked it over. So obviously this is an homage to that scene, which was quite cool in my opinion. Now they just train and they talk shop, and says they always come back better each time. And then Duke tells him, yeah, you're crazy, you know that, right? And he's just like, yeah, I know. Now, this was a very cool comic, in my opinion. I mean, this last scene as well is quite cool, where Alfred is like cutting over these avocados and plums, or whatever. It's obviously an avocado, and he throws down the seeds back down into the Batcave. And this is obviously just to illustrate, this is the start of something new and different. And that's quite the end of the book, eh? It's just a cool palate cleanser for you to get interested in the comic. You can read this on its own. It's a one-shot story. You can read the next one as well. But this comic, it's much better read in a trade. You can only get the trade at the moment, unfortunately. It should be this issue and issues 1 to 6. 1 to 6. So this issue and then 6 issues after that. So that should be the trade for this. Now, I really enjoyed this. I mean, it's very simple. It's not as complicated as the previous review I did. It's just getting you interested in the new direction that Batman is going to go in. Now, that's all I wanted to say, really. I mean, I have a lot of these books that I want to get out there, and I will be doing the next review in a few days. Thank you. If you really like this video, please leave a like and subscribe if you want. But please support this channel if you really like it. And thanks. Thanks, eh?